Hello and welcome back to another live stream on high altitude investing. Today is the 3rd of October and I'm excited to be talking about crypto. We're pumping pretty good right now and I see more pumping coming. So we're going to talk about the charts, what I'm seeing and what I expect to happen from here. Go ahead and share the link on X and on Discord. All right, cool. So let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has continued to push higher as we were talking about and as I've been expecting for Bitcoin. You can see we had a strong recovery off of this support level, which has continued to happen. We're all the way up to 123,000 right now, and we tested 120, basically 124 for just a second. So that's a strong reaction off of this support level. And really, what I expect to happen from here is more upside. This is the start of the beginning of something big. So this is the very first little bullish move that we're seeing right before we see a lot more bullishness coming in this market. And we're going to talk about more than just Bitcoin. And I'll show you a few reasons why the crypto markets are primed to go higher and some of the technical things that I'm seeing in the charts that give me confidence that we will see another big upswing on Bitcoin and a lot of these altcoins. This is just the start. Usually something to be aware of too with crypto and with really any market in the world. The more times that you test a certain level, the higher chance that that level is going to break through. So let's pull up Ethereum over here. We're going to go to we'll just stay on the daily actually. So this level on Ethereum right here, as you can see, we tested this level once, twice, 3 times, and then on the 4th time we broke through that level, right? So we broke up through that level and came back down and tested it as support. So that's a breakout retest. So that's a really good sign for Ethereum. The fact that we came up and tested, rejected, tested, rejected, tested, rejected harder, and then broke through and came back down and tested that as support. That's a strong sign that Ethereum is getting ready for a bigger upswing here in the bigger picture, because we got above this major area of resistance and now it's becoming support. This would also be called a support and resistance flip. So what used to be resistance is now support. So we flipped the resistance and it became support. So support and resistance flip. It's a really good sign for Ethereum. That happens a lot in these markets. You pretty much always see this even back here in the 2021 bull market. You can see that Ethereum broke through this resistance level right here and it came back down and tested it as support after it broke above that level, and then that's what led to even more upside here on Ethereum before we finally topped out and went for another correction, right? So support and resistance flip is extremely common. Whatever market you're trading, crypto, whatever you're trading, you're going to see these support and resistance flips very common in the markets. Even over here on Ethereum, you can see when we broke above this level right here, we came back down and tested it as support before pushing higher here on Ethereum. So that's a classic support and resistance flip. Lumen lessons. Let's go. Thank you for tuning in, man. And yeah, let's get some crypto analysis going here. I'm excited about today's live stream. David says, let's go, guys. And DWM27 says BCH, rocket ship. And is that what flag is that? I don't know off the top of my head what flag that is. Rico Hawk says, good day, Dallin. Could you take a look at Kita charts for me? Thanks, buddy, if you have time. yeah, we'll get over to that in just a second. I just want to kind of finish talking about Bitcoin and a couple altcoins to kind of teach you guys why I'm so bullish on the crypto markets right now. So again, this whole idea of support and resistance flip here on Bitcoin, we have this huge area of resistance that we tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then we finally broke above that level, and then we came back down and tested it as support. So that's a classic support and resistance flip on Bitcoin, and you usually see these before a big increase in value happens, because when a major area of resistance is finally broken above, most of the time it comes back down and tests it as support, and then you have a big increase in value because what used to be a major area of resistance is now a major area of support, and all the big market makers see that, all the whales see that, and they capitalize on the opportunity, and they say, hey, I'm going to pick more of this up in preparation for a big increase because it clearly did a strong breakout through a major area of resistance, and now that area of resistance is support, and they take advantage of the opportunity, right? And you have a big increase in value as the whales and the market makers have a tendency to put money into the market in those scenarios. So now let's pull up Zcash here. And we're going to look at Zcash on the daily candlesticks first. You can see we had a huge increase here on Zcash. Big breakout off these lower support levels, right? We came down and tested support down here multiple times in this area right here. And then that support held, so we didn't break below support, and that led to a huge parabolic breakout here on Zcash. And there's also been some XMR FUD, people talking about a 51% attack. So I think some people started to convert their XMR into Zcash. But what's kind of funny is once Zcash started to pump, then XMR also started to pump too. So people are now excited about privacy coins in general, and which is cool. I love XMR. I love Zcash. Monero is really cool because Monero is a fork of Bitcoin. So it's kind of like the first private blockchain that's built upon the same basic technology as Bitcoin. So if you like Bitcoin, Monero is pretty cool. And yeah, Zcash had a big breakout here. So that's a really good sign here that in the bigger picture, we're going to see more upside. See all this volume right here? Volume confirms that a move has substance to it. So if you have a big breakout in price, unless you're already in a big uptrend and the volume is starting to decline because there's so much momentum and all the big players bought early on, like you can have Apple computers, for example. If we pull up Apple is increasing on virtually no volume in comparison to the volume that Apple had back at the start, right? So if we look at Apple over here at the start, had a bunch of volume down here, and now Apple is increasing without a lot of volume. The reason this is happening is because all the big whales, all the big institutions, they put most of their capital in early on, and now it's just retail buying, or at least a majority is going to be retail, except for maybe institutional traders taking advantage of the swings happening up here. But most of this is going to be retail, and you can tell because the volume is so much smaller in comparison to how many shares were purchased down here early on when it was worth like $5 a share. So Apple is increasing on low volume because the big institutions already positioned themselves. Now they're letting retail just FOMO in continuously. It can still go higher here on low volume, but eventually this is going to have a bear market because you can't continually go up in a low volume market. If there's not demand, the price isn't going to keep going up, right? So unless you're talking about something like Apple, where the big institutions already positioned themselves, so it's increasing on low volume, then most of the time, if you see something going up on low volume, it's not going to go any higher. You know, Apple probably has a little bit left here before it tops out, but low volume and increasing price means that there's nothing behind it. So that's why I really like this move on Zcash here, because there's more volume here on Zcash than we've seen in a long time. So to have a huge spike in volume and an increase in value, that means there's substance behind this move, and it's the beginning of something big for this coin. So that's one thing to be aware of here with Zcash. One reason I believe Zcash will go higher, especially in the bigger picture, because of that increasing price and increasing volume. That shows there's substance behind this move on Zcash. Brykaz0163 says, "What's up, BCH? Let's go. Thank you for your videos and giving people the right mindset to never give up." Yeah, thank you for tuning in today's live stream. And I'm happy that you're getting value out of my content and it's helping you stay profitable in these markets. Iron Mike says, "Are you ready for the rocket ship?" You know, I'm about as ready as I can be. I'm pretty excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun when this market takes off. So I'm pretty dang excited, you guys. It's going to be really cool. Mr. Green says, "Hi, everyone. Happy Friday." And yeah, I agree with Mr. Green. Happy Friday, everybody. And thank you again for tuning in. So yeah, Zcash looks really good, you guys. It's the beginning of something big for this coin. Very exciting times, very profitable times for crypto. This could be the start of something big. And I want you guys to be thinking in terms of a big parabolic run coming in the markets. So let's talk about Zcash in the smaller time frame here. Let's see what the 12-hour looks like. Okay. Let's take a look at the 1 hour here a little bit. So we're at resistance here on Zcash. But this could easily break above. We could easily break above this level and go higher before we top out. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see something like this, where Zcash pushes up through this resistance level and then kind of comes back down and consolidates and then goes even higher, right? That wouldn't surprise me at all to see that kind of a move here with Zcash. There's a lot of momentum, a lot of FOMO. So watch this level to break. If we break above 155, then I would expect another push up here, and then I'd expect consolidation before we go higher. There's a lot of bullish momentum in the markets right now, and you definitely can be surprised at how much the market will continue to increase in value when there's a lot of bullish momentum. It's kind of crazy how much the markets can go up, right? So let's look at Pumped Off Fun, and then we'll get into some of the other projects and do analysis on you guys' coins. I don't know why my stream is just continually loading. It looks like it's working for you guys, which is cool. But, oh, it thinks that I'm signed out. It's probably because I switched IP addresses today. And suspicious activity detected. Google noticed. Oh, no. Oh, man. That's interesting. Huh. Well, I'll have to look at this later. But it looks like I'm back signed into my account, so everything should be working now. YouTube apparently signed me out because there's suspicious activity on my account. But it looks like it's working now, so cool. Anyways, so yeah, Pump.Fun. I wanted to talk a little bit about Pump.Fun. The reason is because I'm bullish on crypto right now in the short term as well as the bigger picture. And Pump.Fun is a really good example of why I'm bullish. So before I talk about all the coins you guys want me to cover, I figured I'd hop on Pump.Fun here, or on the chart for Pump.Fun, and show you guys why I'm bullish. So as you can see here with Pump.Fun, we do have a nice V-shaped recovery here, which is a really good sign for this coin. But the other thing that we see here is a bullish doji candlestick followed by another bullish daily candlestick. So if this daily candlestick closes bullish here on Pump.Fun, this thing is going to push higher even in the short term. So I know a lot of people are going to coinmarketcap.com or CoinGecko or wherever you look at your coins, and you're clicking on the 7-day and you're like, oh man, I see green everywhere. That must mean the market is going to crash, that we're going to have a pullback. But the candlestick patterns are actually bullish right now, because wherever you have a big green candlestick like this, followed by a doji candle, and the doji candlestick is just a small body with wicks on the top and wicks on the bottom. This is a perfect example of a doji candlestick. And then you have another big green candle, and that one closes bullish. That's really, really bullish to see that. And that's exactly what we see here with Pump.Fun. We have a big green candle right here. Then we have a doji candle right here. That's a bullish doji. And now we have another candlestick forming. And if this closes bullish on the daily, so by the end of today, if we have this closing bullish, that's really bullish for Pump.Fun. And the crypto markets have a tendency to follow each other. So what you'll see is if Pump.Fun is bullish, then you're going to see bullish price action on other coins too. Or for example, if Bitcoin is bullish, which it looks really bullish, you're going to see bullish price action on other coins. That's the way crypto works. So if you can find bullish patterns on different coins, and you can be aware of those patterns, it can give you an idea of what's coming on coins that are a little bit harder to see what's happening. Because sometimes you have a coin where you're like, man, I don't even know how to decrypt this. Like, how do I make sense of this chart? So you can go over to other major coins, especially coins people are excited about, or coins that have high volume. And you can take a look at the chart and you can say, hey, this thing has bullish doji pattern, or this thing has a bullish flag, or this thing has a V bottom. And it can give you an idea of what's coming in your other coins. It's kind of like an indicator for your other top coins. So just you can use that to really make more money in the markets. It's been helpful for me, and I highly recommend that you guys use that as a tool for being aware of your other coins, because crypto does follow itself. So Satoshi, to answer your question, because I just saw it, I don't see a pullback in the immediate future, especially if we close bullish here on Pump.Fun, or even, if we go look at, for example, Bitcoin. Let's go look at Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin, if this candlestick closes bullish, it's probably going to break through resistance here and go higher, and we'll go for a new all-time high. Again, we had the breakout retest, so we have this major area of resistance that became support. We had a strong bullish reaction off of that support, so it's pretty likely at this point that we break through our old all-time high and go higher. And like I was saying earlier too, the more times you test a level, the more likely it's going to break through that level. So here with Bitcoin, we tested this resistance level multiple times, like 4 times. And then on the 5th time, we broke bullish through that level. And again, with Bitcoin right now, we have this major area of resistance, this resistance here, and this resistance that we're testing currently. It's probably going to break above that level soon, or now, or at some point in the future. We're probably going to break above this level. So will we have a pullback right now? It looks like we probably won't. We're probably going to push higher here, especially since people forget how strong FOMO is. So a lot of people are afraid to buy the market when it looks like it's going up, but you have to understand the context of the cycle and what's going on, the context of the immediate short term and the context of the bigger picture, because both of those things combined give you an idea of where you're at in the market, like whether you're going to go higher or lower. And a lot of people see something going up and they say, you know what, this looks like I shouldn't buy it. And yes, it's always better to buy the dip, but I've had some really profitable trades where I bought in when it was pumping and held through a bigger pump that came. So just don't be one of those guys that gets so caught up in the idea that if there's a green candlestick, I need to run the other direction and sell. That could be a really bad choice sometimes. Sometimes it's the right choice, but you got to understand the context of the short term and the bigger picture to get a better idea of what to do with your money. So yeah, I think the markets will go higher. Saka Nomer says, hi Dallin, can you give your opinion on Axe Affinity? Please. Axie Affinity, what do you think for gaming coins? Thanks. Yes, I will cover all of your coins that you're requesting, but first I'm going to look at Theta because Rico was the first person to request that. And I think DWM might be requesting that I cover BCH, even though he didn't specifically ask for me to. So I will start with BCH since you put that in the chat, and then we'll go to Theta, and I'll start going down the list of requested coins for you guys. So let's pull up Bitcoin Cash here. And we'll just use the Binance chart. Screw it. Doesn't really matter. So Bitcoin Cash has a steady uptrend here. You can see we have a higher high, higher low pattern. We have our first low here. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We could count all these little moves as higher highs and higher lows, but that's going to take all day. So these are the major higher highs and higher lows. This is an uptrend. That's what an uptrend looks like. If you buy a good book about technical analysis, like, hold on just a sec. This is just one of the boxes I have filled with books. I've got a bunch of books in my room. But like, if you buy a good book about technical analysis, you're going to see pretty quickly that the trend is your friend. Like, that's one of the first things you'll learn, okay? This is a good book. It's called Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets by Joseph J. Murphy, or John J. Murphy. Really good book. Applying Elliott Wave Theory Profitability by Stephen W. Poser. This is a good book. It's not about technical analysis, but it's about money. It's called The Financial Matrix by Orrin Woodward. Really good book. So buying, it can be useful to get books like this. Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns by Thomas N. Bulkowski. And then we have Stephen Nissen, probably how you say it. Japanese Candlestick Charting Techniques. These are all really good books. So If you want to learn technical analysis, invest in yourself, whether it's courses, whether it's books. This is going to help you be a better trader to do that. And one of the first things that you learn if you buy a good technical analysis book is that the trend is your friend. So this kind of goes back to the whole idea that a lot of people, they get thinking, oh, if something's up, I shouldn't buy it. Well, no, you should probably play the trend. Like if there's a lot of momentum behind something, that trend is going to go higher than 90% of people think it will. You have no idea how many people have tried to call the top on crypto and the market keeps going higher. Like if you look at the total crypto market cap, crypto just kept going up. But people have tried to say it was done and over with like hundreds of times. And that really helps you understand that the trend is your friend. And here with Bitcoin Cash, this is a nice little trend forming on the daily. And it is your friend. And we're right up next to resistance here. But this was an ABC correction right here. Let me just go put my books away and then I'll do analysis on it for you guys. So you want to understand that the trend is your friend, and then you got to have a little bit of a knowledge of chart patterns and things like that. But even if you just understand that the trend is your friend, a lot of people that are brand new to trading, when I first got into really investing and trading in these markets was 2017. I'd been doing it. I'd been looking at the charts on Bitcoin since 2014, but I really got into it heavily in 2016 and especially 2017. And I would have considered myself kind of a beginner. Even though my YouTube channel was growing really fast and stuff, I was making content, I was still a beginner at technical analysis. And one of the things that really helped me be so successful in 2017 was just expecting the trend to go higher, expecting the market to continue, letting the market grow, and trusting that there is value in crypto as a technology and that will drive the price because there's demand for it. And it worked. It worked really well. And crypto is starting a big bull market right now as we speak. So if you want to make the most money, if you want to walk away from these markets with a lot of profitability, expect the trend to continue. You have to know how to find reversals too, right? That's why the ABC correction is so powerful. Like here on Bitcoin Cash, we have this huge ABC correction and we're starting to reverse. So if you can find these ABC corrections, you want to buy the bottom of those or as close as you can because it's going to reverse into an uptrend. But once you start to see that reversal like we see right here on BCH, you want to expect that trend to continue. It's going to go higher than what 90% of people think. So work with the trend, work with the direction of the money. That's how you're going to walk away from these markets with big profits and a big smile on your face because of how much money you made. So I'm definitely bullish on BCH, you guys. I think we'll break right up through that resistance really soon. Can you take a look at Kita? Yeah, let's pull up Kita, Rico. And I'll start covering all of the coins that you guys are requesting in today's stream. DIY Modular Session says, yes, let's go. Everybody's saying let's go right now. That's because crypto's pumping, so it's an exciting time, right? Let's pull up Kita here. And I guess this is... Is this the Kita that... Is this the same Kita that's on major exchanges? Huh, they changed their logo recently? Or what? Huh. Maybe I'm thinking of Caspa. That's right. Caspa has a different logo. There's so many cryptos to remember, you guys. And even though I would consider myself to have a good memory, especially with pattern recognition. Man, the amount of names of cryptos there are. Caspa's the logo I was thinking of in my mind, but this is the right logo for Kita. So this is called a running flat pattern here for Kita. So we have our first bullish impulse here all the way up to $1.64. Then we're coming back down to our major support level. This level could fail and we could go a little bit lower here and test support. But this is either a running flat or a regular flat. Or it's just an ABC correction. It's going to be one of those Elliott wave structures. But what I want you to think about as far as Kita goes is that this is our first impulse wave here and that we're making wave 2. Now, whatever pattern wave 2 ends up being, whether it's an ABC correction, running flat, which it could be, then at some point wave 2 is going to complete and you're going to go for wave 3, right? And that wave 3 is going to be profitable, exciting, vertical. This is your first bullish Elliott wave impulse for Kita. Wave 1, and then we're having wave 2 right now. So this was our first cycle, right? We're getting ready for our 3 wave, which will be our second cycle for Kita. And let me show you what a running flat looks like. Running flat here. Not to be confused with rascal flat. No, I'm just kidding. Here's a running flat, okay? There's a regular flat, a running flat. It actually looks like it might be closer to a regular flat than a running flat. So that's where basically what happens with a running flat, or a regular flat, is you have a correction here. It bounces back up. It comes back down to support. But instead of going lower like an ABC zigzag correction would, like this is a zigzag kind of shape. Instead, what happens is you just come right back down onto major support and then find support and go higher. So it looks like this. And then the market goes like that. That's a regular flat correction. And that's exactly what Kita looks like it could be doing right now. This is pretty common for crypto to do this, mainly because a lot of people get all excited in wave B and they start buying the top of wave B, and then the market crashes and they all sell onto support down here when the C wave happens, which is really just a test of support again. And that's why this happens so much in crypto, because it shakes people out of the market like really bad. A good example of one of these patterns, or one that's very similar, it's not quite exactly the same, is the S&P 500 back in this area right here. So this is technically an expanded flat, so it's a little bit different, but it's really similar here. And you can see here's Kita, here's the S&P 500. You can see this correction that happened on the S&P 500. Very similar to what's happening with Kita right now. And that shakes a lot of people out of the market on the support before the market recovers and goes higher. That's what I'd be expecting for Kita. So that's basically a big wave 1 and wave 2 like this. Here's wave 1 right here, wave 2, and you can see the S&P 500 came all the way up here, and we're really headed into that 5th wave right now for the S&P 500. So as far as where Kita is at in the context of its cycle, it's like right here. And it's shaking. This is called the first sell-off. Everybody always sells in the first sell-off. They get afraid. They panic sell. But it's usually the best time to buy, unless you got in earlier than that, of course. But it's the clearest pattern, the easiest one to identify, the cheapest unless you got in before wave 1. Buying that first sell-off is really powerful. Just one more chart here, and then we'll switch over to a different coin. But BNB is another really good example of one of these similar kind of patterns here. You can see here with BNB, we did the same thing here. So With Binance Coin, we had our wave A, wave B, and our wave C, right? So that's a very typical Elliott wave structure for crypto, and it usually leads to a bigger breakout. So that's my thoughts on theta. All right, let's look at Axie Infinity. Good old AXS here. So this is like when people see something like this, they think it's dead, right? But if you had that psychology, then you would have lost money on Bitcoin so many times. You would have given up on Bitcoin. You can't just see something that's down and say it's never going to recover. Otherwise, you're not ever going to understand crypto. Look how many times Bitcoin looked exactly like this, right? Here's Bitcoin, here's AXS. And then here again, same thing, right? Here's Bitcoin, here's AXS. And even the very first cycle on Bitcoin is a really, really good example of this. Here's Bitcoin, here's AXS, right? So that cycle, it goes parabolic, especially the first time these cycles happen. They go parabolic. And then they have huge corrections. Everybody sells, everybody gives up. They make really bad decisions because of the emotion of the cycle. And then what happens? This is the crypto cycle. This is what crypto does. It shakes people out of the market. It pumps really hard, then it crashes really hard. Everybody panic sells the bottom. And then guess what? Once everybody's out of the market, once 90% of the retail money thinks it's dead, once 1 million FUD articles and fundamental news articles have came out saying that you should sell it because, oh, you know, there's this hack or this is vulnerable or this is that or this thing, you know. Once all the FUD is max in terms of news and once the price has fallen down 90% plus, that's when everybody sells. That's when the big players buy, and that's when the market reverses. So don't give up on AXS, all right? You have no idea how many times I've told people not to give up on crypto like Ethereum in 2018, Bitcoin in 2018 when it hit 3,000, Ethereum when it was hitting $80, even the entire crypto markets when Bitcoin came back down to like 16,000 after it hit 69, and when all of the altcoin markets came down, like Dogecoin hit 6 cents, I was posting in my VIP area letting people know, don't give up on crypto. Don't give up on it. Just because something's down does not give you a justification for being bearish. Don't give up on these markets. It kills me that Ethereum is still going up. Ethereum is crap in so many ways. Well, this is actually a really good point, Robert, because it goes to show that these markets don't move because of fundamentals nearly as much as people think. I know that's the majority way that people use to determine whether something is good or bad, is the fundamentals of what the coin is doing. But if these markets moved because of fundamentals, why do so many meme coins do bigger percentage gains than a lot of the top cryptos? Why is SPX 6900 one of the top performing cryptos this recent cycle since 2024 in September when we started breaking out? It's held its value better than a lot of coins. It's going nuts. This thing is really good, right? In terms of a opportunity to buy. Look at this percentage, 523,000% gain on SPX 6900, which is just a total meme coin. Just a total meme coin, right? Well, it's clearly because emotion drives markets, not fundamentals. Emotions drive markets. Now, do I think Ethereum is crap? Not really. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's better coins fundamentally. But do I believe Ethereum is driven by human emotion? Yeah, the entire market is driven by human emotion. That's the fundamental driver of all markets, human emotion. Why do you think they call it panic selling or FOMO buying? That's the representation of the human emotion that people are experiencing at the tops or the bottoms. So markets are driven by human emotion. And whether you like it or not, that's the truth. That's what drives markets. Hi, please analyze Wan Chain. Yeah, let's pull up Wan Chain here. I love how everybody left my live stream once I said that markets are driven by human emotion. Talk about an emotional response, you guys. Chill out, okay? It's the truth. Take it or leave it. You don't have to accept it, but markets are driven by human emotion. All right? If they were driven by purely fundamentals, then again, you wouldn't have meme coins go crazy. You wouldn't have the tulip bubble that happened where tulip seeds went to the moon. That wasn't fundamentals, that was people having an emotional reaction to what they felt like was a supply shock. And so the value of tulip seeds went to the moon. Markets are driven by human emotions. And you can accept it or reject it, but that's the truth of the market. So let's take a look at Wan Chain here. Wan Chain is a perfect example of one of these ABC corrections. See this huge ABC correction here on Wan Chain? That's exactly what I like to look for in the market. I love to look for these big corrections where people are panic selling, where there's good volume. Look at all this volume here. That's exactly what you want to see. That's how you get rich. You can either be an idiot and go panic selling all of this stuff and calling tops way too early and considering the market overvalued and just making a bunch of dumb decisions, or you can look at something like Wan Chain and you can buy the dip and you can purchase this thing early on before it recovers, before it goes to the moon. And then you can walk away from this market with massive profits. And by the way, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to buy the dip on something and watch it go to the moon. I first got into Bitcoin in 2015. And then Bitcoin went all the way to 20,000 per coin. So I unknowingly, because I didn't know much about cycles, I unknowingly bought the very bottom of a market cycle, started getting excited about crypto, and then 2016 and 2017 happened, and it's really fun. If you can buy the dip on something when other people are afraid, it is the funnest thing ever when that thing turns around and goes to the moon. Nothing beats it. It's so exhilarating and so fun to ride those pumps. So I highly, highly recommend that you guys take risk. And you're not a play it safer, because the play it safers don't succeed. But take risk. Be willing to take risk. Take intelligent risk. Take calculated risk. But buy stuff that looks like Wan Chain. And you're going to be glad that you did when the market turns around and goes parabolic like Bitcoin did in 2016 and 2017. But you're going to hate yourself or really regret it if you don't buy the dip on this stuff. We are so early to this whole market. So be willing to buy the dip, you guys. Hello, Dallin. I love the live stream. We are looking really bullish. Can we see a pump over this weekend? Well, thank you, Mr. Wizard, for tuning in to today's live stream. And yeah, I do think we will see a pump over the weekend. I talked about at the beginning of the stream how there's multiple coins that look like they're ready to go higher in the short term, even though the market looks like it's really high. You have to understand that the amount that these coins can pump. You got to understand that. For example, pump.fun here, this is a bullish candlestick followed by a bullish doji, and now we're having another bullish candle. So if this candlestick closes bullish here within the next 24 hours, you're going to see more upside on pump.fun. We might even break above our resistance right here on this coin. So yeah, the momentum definitely favors going higher in the crypto markets right now, in the short term as well as the bigger picture. And that's why I've been trying to tell people, you would have to be a total idiot to be bearish on crypto. You would literally either have to have no knowledge of trading and investing, be swayed by people that don't know what they're talking about, or literally be blind to what's happening. Like, you'd have to be a total idiot. So that's why the smartest thing to do right now is to look at these charts, especially in the bigger picture, and to be buying and holding on and be ready for a big pump. Because again, you guys, it's so simple. Like, let's pull up the total crypto market cap here. And this, first of all, we just had a bullish breakout on the total crypto market cap. Okay, the total crypto market cap just made a new all-time high. And by the way, it made a new all-time high after consolidating on support. See this major area of support that used to be resistance? We broke above resistance, tested it as support, and now we're breaking above our new local resistance. That is so bullish. That is so bullish in the short term here on the daily candlesticks for the total crypto market cap. Then look at this. If we go to the 3-week here, you guys can try to fight this trend, but I'm not going to. All right? Look how big this rounded bottom is right here on the total crypto market cap. Look how perfect that rounded bottom is. Okay? We just barely broke above our old all-time high. Like, just barely. This thing is going to go higher. And if you compare what's happening to crypto right now to what happened to the internet, what happened to computing and the technology of the internet and computers, you get a pretty good idea of what could happen for crypto. Here is Apple computers. This was the internet bubble on Apple. Here is 2008. Look how much volume there was early on in the cycle with Apple before it became a household name. Crypto is not a household name. It's starting to turn over from that point where it's just a cool technology to be something that people recognize. But it's not a household name yet. It's not. And if you look at the total crypto market cap, here's our first big bubble on the total crypto market cap. Here's our FTX situation. And here is our first bubble with Apple right here during the internet bubble. And here's 2008, right? This is the same thing. Look how much volume there is on Apple, and look how much volume there is on the total crypto market cap. If you guys don't know, increasing price and increasing volume is bullish. So if I pull up our volume rules of analysis here, if the price is rising and the volume is rising, that shows the market is strong. Not weak, it shows strength. And if the trend is your friend, and the total crypto market cap looks like Apple after it recovered in 2008, and we have billions of dollars coming into crypto, just like we had massive amounts of money coming into Apple here. So you can see 24 billion Apple shares were traded here in the correction in 2008. And we have $560 billion volume spike here on the total crypto market cap here. Way more volume than even what Apple was seeing, right? Imagine what could happen to crypto. A lot of you guys are not thinking big picture enough. You're not greedy enough early on. That's what I posted on my X account. A lot of you guys are not greedy enough. You're thinking too small. You're thinking too little picture. What's going to happen in the immediate future. You guys need to look at the bigger picture of what's happening to crypto. And if you look at that, look what happened to Apple. Okay? This is what happens when a technology goes from something that's cool, that a few people are aware of, to a household name that everybody uses. That's what happened to Apple. It's what happened to Microsoft. It's what happened to NVIDIA, graphics card companies. As the technology of the internet and computers became a household name, the demand went parabolic and the price followed it. That's exactly what's coming for crypto. If you guys don't know about this, you better start thinking in this way if you want to make money in the markets. Because a lot of you guys are going to sell too soon. Not thinking big picture enough. Thinking too much about what's going to happen. If you look at an S-curve, and I talked about this in my last stream that I was bullish about a few days ago before we started pumping again. If you look at a technological S-curve, that's exactly where we're at, what's happening with crypto. Okay? Technologies go through a mass adoption phase. This is what happens to new technologies. They experience an S-curve. This is where Apple was. Here, I'll use the bigger paintbrush. This is where Apple was in 2008, right here in the technological S-curve. You can just look at the chart of Apple and you can see it. Here's 2008. Early on, before it started going to the moon because of demand, when it was just barely starting to go up here. See that? That's 2008 for Apple. That's the very beginning of the S-curve for the technology of home computing and the internet. Okay? So right there is where Apple was in 2008. Now, if you look at crypto right now, crypto is literally breaking out of a very similar situation as 2008 right now as we speak. So crypto is like right here on the technological S-curve, like maybe slightly above 2008, like right here in terms of the technological S-curve for the technology of crypto being adopted by the public. So imagine what's going to happen as crypto gets adopted and becomes a household name and goes to the moon and goes up this S-curve of growth. It's going to go crazy. It's going to do like what Apple did and go nuts. You can see it in the volume. You can see it in the chart. Everything about crypto is suggesting we are about to go to the moon. So you guys can take this knowledge if you want. You can use it if you want. You can completely reject it. But this is what's happening for crypto. James Cool says, can you look at GMRT? The chart looks horrible, but I'm no chart reader. Maybe you can see something I can't. Yeah, I'll pull up GMRT. GMRT. Gamer tag versus tether. This is actually kind of good looking. I like this chart. This is the kind of stuff I like to buy. Stuff that dumps and falls off a cliff, but then starts having good consistent volume down here at really low prices. See all this volume? Yeah, it dropped off a little bit in the immediate future or in the immediate present. But you can see that as we start to break out here, that volume will likely increase. And we're way down from the peak. And this is what happens a lot of times. Like a coin will get released. See, this coin got released in March or February of 2025. Crypto was really overvalued in the short term in February of 2025. So of course this thing is going to fall off a cliff. The entirety of crypto fell off a cliff since the local peak. You know, if you go look at different charts, let's just do this. Like if you look at Bitcoin, you know, see Bitcoin topped out right here in January of 2025 and dumped all the way until April. And a lot of coins dumped even harder. Like if you look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum topped out over here in January and December, and then it dumped all the way down, right? So yeah, crypto was short-term overvalued right here in February of 2025. So it's no surprise that gamer tag fell and crashed. I mean, Ethereum fell off a cliff, Bitcoin crashed, crypto crashed, right? So a lot of times coins will get released or added to major exchanges, and crypto will be short-term overvalued. Then they'll make a pattern like this, and then that's when you want to buy, is down at the bottom of these, because all the people that created this coin, all of the people that are kind of in the know, they're buying down here when it's undervalued because they know that a cycle is coming, that it's going to do a market cycle. So I actually like this setup, to be honest with you. And by the way, thank you again for that donation, James. Cool. Sup, bro. Nice to catch you live again. Well, thank you, Lego King is cool. I really hope Doge hits $1.50 to $2 this year. I definitely expect it to go higher and break out and go bullish, and it could easily go to a new all-time high before the end of the year. I know it's already October 3rd, but a lot can happen in 2 months. Think of what happened last year from October until December. You know, crypto went from looking dead and undervalued, and I'm glad that I was telling everybody it wasn't and telling them to buy down there, because look what happened. All the way up to a crazy pump here on Dogecoin, all in the period of a couple months, went all the way to a new local high. And everybody was so bearish down here, and I was telling people not to be, because it was a perfect opportunity to buy crypto before it pumped. They're doing the same thing right now. You have no idea how many people are bearish right here on Doge. Come on, you guys. Are you really going to screw up your entire opportunity to make money in these markets? Or are you going to buy the dip and let it pump like somebody that has their head on straight? Are you York Rite or a Scottish Rite Freemason? I am Blue Lodge, so I'm a Master Mason. I'm not York Rite or Scottish Rite, but I do plan on doing both York Rite and Scottish Rite Freemasonry. But right now I'm only a Master Mason, which, by the way, is the highest degree in Freemasonry. If you're a 33rd degree Scottish Rite, it's no higher than a Master Mason in Blue Lodge. It's not like you can get any higher in terms of degrees, but it does give you additional knowledge and insight to do the York Rite and the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. I have friends that are 32nd and 33rd degree Scottish Rite and York Rite Masons, and you just get more knowledge and information. So if you're a Master Mason, then you can definitely predict the future of cryptocurrency. Well, Um, I would say the reason I can understand the charts is because I've been studying them for 9+ years. But yeah. um, Telcoin and Velo. Yeah, we can do those coins. I got to cut the stream a little bit shorter today because I'm actually going to hop on Pump.Fun and I'm going to go over to my friend's house and we're going to do like a not all day live stream, but we're going to be streaming periodically throughout the day on my Pump.Fun account and just doing all kinds of stuff like feeding his goats. It'll be kind of like different, not like what I normally do, but it should be fun and I'm excited about it. So if you guys don't know about my Pump.Fun account, go to my website, highaltitudecrypto.com, and go down to the bottom of my website. Is it loading? There we go. Go down to the bottom of my website, and this is where you're going to see like my free videos, my school community, my single call coaching sessions, lifetime VIP investing signals, mastermind group coaching, one-on-one coaching, the free Discord community, the X account, my official X account, my official TradingView account, but also at the very bottom right here it says official HAI coin. I actually have a coin. It's called High Altitude Investing. HAI is the ticker. And I do live streams over here on Pump.Fun. So come tune into this periodically throughout the day, and you're going to see me streaming about different things, just kind of like a day in the life hanging out with my friend. Mainly talking about stuff he does because he's like an accordion player and he's really cool. He's got goats and he's just a cool guy. And so it'll be fun to do that today. So I won't be able to stream as long. I'm getting off pretty soon. But I'll cover these last two coins for you guys. And then, yeah, we'll call it a day. But yeah, tune into my Pump.Fun if you want to see more content about just random cool stuff that isn't exactly crypto related. Okay, let's pull up Telcoin here. You guys know I'm a big bull on Telcoin. I don't have to reiterate that point. In the near future, I do expect a bullish move. We've got a nice double bottom pattern here for Telcoin. It's also kind of an inverse head and shoulders. We have a left shoulder here, a head right here, and a right shoulder. But this is also a pretty classic double bottom structure like that. So you've kind of got both patterns going on at the same time. This is also a falling wedge right here on Telcoin. So that shows that in the immediate future, we should have a bullish reaction because we just broke bullish out of a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. If you don't know about the falling wedge, it's actually bullish. I know falling makes it sound bearish, but a falling wedge is a bullish pattern. And so I do expect a breakout here up through this local resistance at 0.007 cents and this double bottom pattern to play out. And as you guys know in the bigger picture, I'm very bullish on Telcoin. I've shown this chart a lot, but I'll go ahead and show it again. If we pull up Telcoin and we go to Ethereum over here and we take a look at Ethereum over here in 2018, this is a perfect example of a market cycle. So pull up the market cycle chart too. If we pull up the market cycle chart, where's one that isn't all drawn on? There we go. This is a market cycle. And the point of maximum financial opportunity is at the bottom of these cycles. The very worst looking point when everybody thinks it sucks and it's dead and it looks like it's never going to recover. That's when you want to buy. That's what a market cycle is so powerful to understand this. Down here in the depression phase and in the disbelief phase is your maximum point of financial opportunity with the lowest risk. That's why people like Warren Buffett says be greedy when other people are fearful. And if you look right here, here's Bitcoin, right? This is a really good chart actually. This is exactly what I was looking at this period of time, by the way. When Bitcoin was down at 3,000 per coin, I was looking at this exact same thing. that Bitcoin had gone through a market cycle. It was undervalued. It needed to go up again. And it did. It went to the moon, and it's still going to the moon. So if you look at Ethereum, Ethereum did the same thing over here in 2018 and 2017. Went to the moon and then it crashed. And that's what a market cycle is. Right? And Telcoin did the same thing. So because I've seen these cycles so many times, it's easier to remember them. But even if you don't have all the 9 years of experience that I have, you can learn how to see these cycles and you can make money in these markets. You just have to learn how to see the cycle. And once you learn how to see the cycle, then you get excited when you see something like Telcoin, because you know that it's like right here. See Ethereum right here? It started to bottom out and then pulled back a little bit and then went to the moon. You know what happens when you see these cycles. That's exactly where Telcoin is right now. It's the same point in the cycle. And you know, hey, this thing could easily break all the way to a new all-time high, and it's only worth fractions of a penny right now, 0.004 cents. So you get excited when other people are fearful because you understand the cycle. And that's how you make money in crypto. That's how you walk away from this market a profitable man or woman. You understand the human emotion. And that's the power of the market cycle. And here with Telcoin, it's just what I've been talking about all this time. It looks amazing, you guys. It looks really good. Let's pull up Velo here. Somehow you guys always get me to do one more coin than I want to. Because I'm always ready to go do something, and then one person's like, can you please look at this coin? And I have a hard time saying no because it's so fun to do TA and to look at these coins. Same is true for Velo. Like I was saying, these coins fall off a cliff. People give up on them. They think it's dead just because it fell 90% plus down, you know, like 95 or 98 sometimes, or 93. Especially altcoins, they fall over 90%, where Bitcoin falls between 83 and 86% in its bear markets from the peak down. Velo, you know, they give up on something like this, but they fail to recognize the opportunity of the cycle. The fact that Velo is in depression right now. It's the maximum point of financial opportunity. And this thing is going to, I firmly believe this thing will reverse and see a big run. But people don't have the foresight to take advantage of what's right in front of their face because they don't understand the market cycle. And if you understand the cycle, it doesn't matter if you're brand new to trading or you've been doing it 9 years, you can walk away from this market a profitable man or woman. And I love this setup on Velo. It looks amazing. Same ABC correction that Ethereum did. Ethereum had a bigger market cap, so the percentage down was a little bit less. But it's the same psychology. It's the same pattern, the same ABC, the same undervalued structure, and the same level of opportunity, if not even more. Because the market cap is smaller on Velo, the percentage gain will actually be bigger than what we saw with Ethereum. One last coin, because Lego King is cool, requested it, Supra. And then we're calling it a day. But if you want to see more content, you want to hang out with me more today, go to my pump.fun. And you'll be seeing me periodically live stream throughout the day over there. Supra is the same thing that I've just been talking about. This is what new coins do. If you don't believe me, go study old coins when they were new. When they were new. And people didn't believe that there was anything good happening. And they thought it was bearish. You know? Like, go study those charts. And you're going to get a really good idea of what it looks like when something is new and people think that it's worthless. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum did the same thing that Supra is doing right now. Here's Ethereum when it first got added to Poloniex, when it was worth like 50 cents down here. I saw this happen. I was on Poloniex watching Ethereum drop down from $2 down to 50 cents and then all the way to what it's worth today. And so I know these patterns. I know what they look like. And if you look at Supra right now and you look at Ethereum, tell me that Supra right now, a new coin, is different than Ethereum, a new coin back in 2015. It's the same pattern of human emotion. So go study big coins. Go look at their first cycles and see what happens when there's a new coin, and it will give you a much better idea of what's happening on some of your favorite coins right now that are new. So yeah, I think Supra will do a big run. I really do. I'm not just saying that. I don't just say those things. If I'm telling you I believe a coin is going to go up, it's because I really believe it. My number one goal is viewer and customer results. I want you guys to succeed. That's why I spend so much time doing this, because it's fun for me to watch. It's fun for me to watch you guys be successful in the markets. It's rewarding for me to see that. So I wouldn't tell you I think something's going to go up unless I really believed it. And that's the case with Supra. It looks really good. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and in future live streams. Like I said, speaking of which, go to my Pumped Off Fun and you can see me streaming more today. It won't be about crypto so much, but it'll be fun still. So go to my website, scroll down to the bottom, click on my official coin, and check this periodically throughout the day, and you'll see me streaming on here. And it should be fun. It should be kind of cool. So yeah, thank you guys again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in future videos and in future live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there.